Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Anime Rainbow. Today I got for you Kaiju number 8, chapter 43. What is going on? Well, if you remember from chapter 42, the end of chapter 42, Kikoru and Kafka had their assignments. They were in charge of the neutralization location, meaning any kaiju that were lured into the neutralization spot, they were to take care of. Kikoru, she showed off with flying colors, no problems there whatsoever. Kafka, he is having a lot more difficulties because at the end of chapter 42, the climax of it was he can't perform a full transformation. He has no problem with the partial transformation, but when he goes and tries to do a full takeover for Kaiju number 8, he powers down almost immediately. Because at the end of 42, we had the revelation of Kaiju number 9 making his appearance. Well, at the beginning of 43, here he is in all of his full glory, and there's been a lot of speculation in the Kaiju number 8 community surrounding Kaiju number 9 and whether or not he knew specifically if Kafka was Kaiju number 8. Well, here we get Kaiju number 9 playing the dumb card. And I've been on record saying that Kaiju number 9, he's the smart one, right? He's the brainiac, but you have these moments, much like in this chapter, where he's playing the dumb card. He pops up and he's like, oh, what? That's odd. I came here because I had a reading that Kaiju number 8 was here, but he's not. Unless, of course, you yourself are Kaiju number 8. He blasts Kafka. He's like, okay, well, we're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna test to see if you were Kaiju number 8. If you read this entire chapter, you know he has no confirmation, right? Kafka never came out of his mouth and said, yes, I am. Things of that nature. There was no partial transformation that he could perform because he tries to go and do a transformation again this chapter, and the scientists that are behind the scenes monitoring him, Narumi asks, he's like, what's going on with Kaiju number 8? And he's like, he failed a transformation again. So this is putting Kafka in a very tough situation if he's not able to perform. Not only is he not doing what was asked of him by the Director General and basically everybody in the higher up department of the Defense Force, in which case he has to prove why he should survive. He's not doing that, right? So it's a very strong likelihood that he might be disposed of. Now, we know that's not going to happen because of the series, but, you know, his head is still on the chopping board, and if he can't do something to rectify the situation, he's doomed. There really wasn't even a reason for Kaiju number 9 to ask Kafka if he was Kaiju number 8 because he didn't wait for an answer. He just starts blasting away. He says, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to take back the great kaiju power for myself. He's clearly privy of information that he wasn't the first time that they fought or even the second time that they fought. He's came into new information. At least that's what it seems like. Alright, but that's the easy thing to talk about. The harder part to talk about in this chapter, the more interesting part to really talk about in this chapter, is Kaiju number 9 and all this information and all these visuals that we've seen in the panels. I mean, he's sprouting, right? And this is the big thing, right? The first page of chapter 43 should probably have been the last page of chapter 42 because it just makes more sense now. We didn't see number 9 sprouting from the top of this ant's head in the last chapter. If I had, my theory would have been completely different, ending chapter 42 going into chapter 43 because, I mean, well, on one end I thought that he simply removed his lower half of his body and attached himself to an ant, which, you know, in theory could have happened. What he did is something completely different. He was like absorbed into the ant and then sprouted from the top like a dandelion or something like a weed. I'm referring to number 9 as a weed, okay? A parasitic weed plant kaiju thing. The fact that he can divide and split, he's kept a lot of aces up his sleeve, which threw me off because you had Narumi who was about to jump in there and help Kafka because at this point Kafka's getting ran through by number 9 and Narumi, he's about to jump in, and I had to go back and actually relook at all of these panels because I didn't understood what happened, right? You see Narumi, he's about to jump in and the ground just shatters around him, and I'm like, okay, if this is just a regular ant, he's just gonna blow right through it. And so I think that's why I kind of just glossed over those few pages because I wanted to get back to Kafka and number 9 and see what was going on, but I didn't understand some things that had happened, so I had to go back and I was like, oh shit, this isn't just an ant, this is another number 9 ant. So 9 has the ability of division. We don't know how many times he can split, but it makes a lot more sense. If he is able to divide himself, even at the most 1, let's just say that's the most he can do, and there can only be a max of 2 number 9s. Even if he can just do you know all the possibilities that open up if he is able to replicate himself and control that clone to any level of degree that fucking Naruto from his series can. A shadow clone from Naruto can transmit all 5 senses back to the original creator, and anything that one clone learned while it was still around as a clone before it got destroyed, all of that information is passed immediately back to the original person. I'm not comparing the two series, I just think that should be looked out for, right? We don't know the full extent of everything he can do as a clone or what the clones can do. It's entirely possible that these clones are just fodder and Narumi can actually blast through them, but it was enough for every platoon leader to be genuinely concerned and saying that, okay, Narumi's tied up, he can't do anything. And you have everybody from the 1st Division, the different platoon leaders, the vice captain, they're all trying to come up with a game plan, not even really to save Kafka, right? If you go back and reread, they're not actually concerned about Kafka. They just really want to know what's going on with the ants. They're not making the push and saying, oh hey, we need to save Kafka, we need to get in there. They're not even calling him by his name. They're saying Kaiju number 8 this, Kaiju number 8 that. If we don't get him out, he's gonna die. I guess you could argue that that is them showing that they care about this man, but they're really just caring about their investment. Okay, Kafka is an investment. They can't lose him because they don't know what's gonna happen to him, and the last thing they want is for an asset to be turned against them in the middle of a war. The tactics that number 9 has displayed are more problematic than anything that Kaiju number 10 did at Tachikawa base. We can agree to disagree, but number 9 has single-handedly cut off all form of backup to Kafka minus Kikoru. I'm still trying to figure out how she got there. Well, actually, I know how she got there. She was already in the neutralization location along with Kafka, so it made complete sense as to why she was able to get to him before anybody else. I'm not gonna sit here and try to make it out to seem like they weren't trying to get to him. It's just the sheer number of ant kaiju that have managed to surface, and on top of that, number 9 has displayed new abilities, being able to divide and clone himself, being able to sense other daikaiju, which, unless he just recently acquired those abilities, he's had them all along and he's just been playing dumb this entire series. Or, if he did get a new ability, who's upgrading him? That's another question. But what has happened here is that Kaiju number 8, Kikoru, Narumi, and all of the 1st Division, all of the Defense Force as of right now, chapter 43, has been outplayed by Kaiju number 9. All of the data that was collected from Captain Mina and Vice Captain Hoshina and given to the Defense Force after the report of everything that happened with Kaiju number 10 and them finding out that Kafka was Kaiju number 8, they had this massive reservoir of information surrounding Kaiju number 9 and the attack that happened at the base. But because he is always improving, always thinking, and always growing, he always has a plan, he always has something up his sleeve. I'm talking about number 9 right now. He was able to outplay everybody in the 1st Division. The scientist who is overseeing the entire operation and monitoring Kafka, he says the area is extending well past 3rd Division's reported range. Kaiju number 9 is a completely different beast. He's a completely different entity. He's received upgrades. I think of them as upgrades only because I personally do not see him holding back in the past. But I could be 100% wrong because somebody's always getting the jump on number 9. I don't know if he's playing dumb or if he's just really stupid. Maybe Kaiju number 9 is the smart one and he just happens to have a really dumb host. And they're constantly flipping back and forth between, consciousness. Someone's always getting a hit off on number 9. I can't complain too much about it because Kikoru, like a radiant angel coming in out of left field, just right down the middle. Clean, efficient, yeet. And of course, number 9, he's like, what? What just happened? Oh my god, what's going on? I can sense kaiju, but I don't have fucking peripheral vision to spot a motherfucker with a giant axe. Oh man. I don't know if y'all can tell, I really do love this series, but I've rambled on long enough. I think I've rambled on long enough. What, is there anything else I gotta talk about here? Yeah, Kafka getting washed, Kikoru comes in for the save, all the ants are being revived. So I spoke on number 9 and his new abilities. This doesn't cancel out all of his old abilities that he's had, alright? He still has the ability to regenerate and revive dead kaiju, which you see on full display here, and that kind of goes into what was being told to us by the scientists who are watching over everything. None of this coincides with the report that was given to them by the 3rd Division. The area is expanding well beyond the boundaries of the Pride Land. They don't have enough people here in order to accommodate something of this magnitude, which of course they didn't factor into their equation before leaving for the mission. So they only have a few options here. The first thing, call in reinforcements. This is a large amount of kaiju and I don't care how strong you are, you need backup. So I can see them phoning in a request from the Director General to say, hey, we need more people to come along. 2, they phone in reinforcements, nobody comes, and Kafka is captured. 3, you can have a situation of Kaiju number 8 taking back over and going berserk again and just stomping number 9, and then Narumi and Kikoru have to deal with an enraged Kaiju number 8 and try to get a Kafka back. 4, Kaiju number 9 cloned himself a third time, sent a third one to the main defense force, and used that one to infiltrate it in order to get the stash of Kaiju weapons back. I still think he's after the stash of Kaiju weapons back, because what was the point of saying, oh, we have all these Kaiju weapons that were made from Dai Kaijus, but some of them you just can't use because we're humans and we can't wield them. So they're just sitting there in cold storage. Hopefully one day somebody will join the defense force who has the ability to wield them. Well, that person's probably Kafka. If this is going to be a continuous problem that we see with him where he can't transform, or he can only transform sometimes, this chapter is showing every problem I think most of us already knew was going to be an occurrence. What's going to happen if he can't transform when he needs to transform? He's going to get a hole blasted in his chest. That's exactly what's going to happen. He has to be able to train himself in more of a traditional defense force standard. You have to be either really good with miniature kaijus or really good with giant kaijus. Clearly, big weapons aren't your thing. Maybe you need to become a miniature kaiju slayer like Vice Captain Hoshina, okay? I'm just throwing that out there. Even Kikoru. I would say Kikoru is about a mini kaiju standard type of person, you know, with the axe and everything. She's not running around with a blaster, so who really knows? But this time, I've definitely rambled on long enough. If you made it to the end, thank you. If you are new, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. It lets me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about what you think is going on and how you feel this chapter was. What do you think is going to happen? There are a lot of new developments that have came out. How do you feel about Kaiju number 9's new powers? Do you even think they're new powers, or do you think he's been holding back this entire time? I don't even know how to take this, man. But subscribe if you are brand new, and then like always, and until next time, I'm out.